Hello everybody, Funky Friday continues. We have got a 7-star orientated video. I'm looking over to the left because I've got notes on one of my other monitors. Recording on that monitor, and then we're going to be reacting to this. So yeah, we're going to get into it. Okay, lots of information. If you don't want to listen to me, go to the description. I've written out some notes from all of this. A lot of interesting things from 7-star crystal and onwards, and we'll go over them with the visual representation on screen. Of course, we will. Right. So the first thing is 7-star crystals and shards now look like this. So that's lovely. They look fantastic. There's also a change in border, which you can see on screen. This was what Kabam were originally going with. And then it's all changed to this one here. So as Kabam even put the new hotness, which is, yeah, like this is what the new border looks like. It looks better. I love the little kind of, it looks like peaks, like a mountain peaks with it, which I think looks just looks cool. Like absolutely fantastic. And then the pool side of things. Now we've got a different. We're going to be away from the stream that Kabam put out for this, which is the pool. So a link to Cat Murdoch's infographic is in the description down below. This is it in its entirety, and yeah, there's some cool champions: Mantis, Sauron, Shuri, Gore, Wiccan, Titania. Then we've got Elsa Bloodstone, Storm Pyramid X, Gating 2099, Terex, Wong, Overseer. We've also got Korg, Sunspot, Mysterio, Silver Surfer, America Chavez. We've got Spider-Gwen. We've got Joe Fixit. We've got Mangog. We've got Venom the Duck. We have got Iron Man Infinity War, Domino, Killmonger, Falcon, Bishop, War Machine, Venom, Dragon Man, Hulk, Hawkeye, Gambit, Rocket, and we've got Gamora, Sasquatch, and Spider-Man. I'm not going to go into too much details into like what is good, what is bad, because look, you have a different liking to somebody else. I have a different liking. There's a lot of champions on here I don't personally like. I didn't personally want in this, but they're there. But to other people, they're like, one man's trash is another man's treasure. I think we've gone over that before, so I'm not going to impart any kind of like thought process on all of this. But there are some revelations with the stream. Fantastic, because we learn of the first ever not from the pool, because there's no visual representation, but there's going to be a Paragon Crystal. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a Paragon Crystal. There's going to be no 3-star in it, so it's just going to be all about 4-star upwards. So that should be exciting. I do have reservations of that because the problem that we got is, well, we jumped Thronebreaker, haven't we, when it comes to a Thronebreaker crystal. But I am also worried about the cost of the units. Let's face it, it's more likely going to be about like 300 units, maybe even more. And that's a concern. Like, what is the unitary cost going to be? I still think it should be around about, well, you know, ideally like it close to about 200 units. Well, it is 200 units at the moment with that one, but let's face it, it's probably going to be like 300 or something ridiculous. I'd love to say it was 200, but I don't know. I can't predict the future. The Kabam don't say when exactly that's coming in, but is that going to coincide with the release of 7-stars? It more than likely will. There's also a special tie-in event as well with it. In any case, I digress. And back to some information on this crystal. So, Kabam have said that the cost is going to be, it's a kind of like a thing on that one about like the release date. They don't put a slide up about the release date, but the release is going to be on the, what's on my notes, 8th of May. And the competition winner, if you saw the reaction to that, I posted a moment ago, it's going to be the 5th of May. So that person's going to get on the 5th of May, lucky them. And that's really that for the time being. There's also a lot more with that one. We know about the changes, but also rank up costs. No idea. That is something I would have loved to have found out, like how much does it cost to take a champion to rank, a 7-star champion to rank 2, which we don't get an idea of, which is a bit of a shame. But as a lot, you know, things are a shame in life. There's also some key questions as well. I mean, we'll talk about cost in a minute because that is going to be a big factor. But this is an interesting one here where even newbies asking this question. Chat someone didn't ask this. Currently, we receive 275 7-star shards per 6-star dupe, which is 2.75% of a set of 10k. Since 7 stars are 15k, will that be upgraded to match the 2.75 or 15k? But how I think that's worked out is that it'll work into the Titan crystal side of things, unless they buff up the volume on the 6-star duping. That's something I think Kabam will explain in some future posts. But let's face it, the question of purchasing is a bit of an issue when it comes to how much you're spending. At the moment, for the release of the 7-star, and this is the contentious thing right here, is that the good news, bad news. Okay, good news. No, bad news. Let's go to bad news. Bad news is the cost for these 7-star crystals are going to be 15,000 7-star shards. That's for the 7-star hero crystal. Duping them is something we'll talk about in a minute, because that means you get Titan crystals. We're going to have to explain this a little bit. The bad news side of things from the 7-star hero crystal side of things, yes, is the 15k purchase price. Kabam did try and justify it with a lot of mathematics, but it is largely disappointing. But there is some good news from that. The good news side of things is that for the first ever 2 that you purchase, so if you've got, like me, 20,000 7-star shards, you will get 2 crystals the first time. After that, it's 15k all the way, which, I gotta be honest, is really, really good. And it's pretty fair. The way that I'm saying that, I know some people may disagree with that, but the point is there, and the facts are there. You have worked hard, and I have worked hard on getting those 7-star shards for the last, I don't know how many months. So, with all of those 7-star shards that you've accumulated, if you're free to play, if you're spending or whatever, whether you spent money, whether you've hard grinded and got 6-star dupes, you will get a slice of cake equal to whatever work you've put in to date. It's only after the release of this little kind of like introductory offer that it will start feeling like you are working hard for something you're not getting back. But again, that's something that Kabam will have to kind of look at, and especially how they reward players, and also how they deal with dupes and stuff like that. Now, the weird thing about this is when you dupe a 7-star, you don't get more 7-star shards. It's a very weird thing, isn't it? Also, by the way, it was hinted that there may be a buff to... I'll talk about Titan Crystals in a minute. But it was hinted that Venom the Duck is going to get a buff. So yeah, like I think it was Aiden said that in passing, was like, oh, I think there's going to be some tune-up. So there's going to be a tune-up for Venom the Duck. I think that's it. I think I've covered all the 7-star stuff before we can go on. As I said, for me, I wanted to find out what the rank up process and costs were. Didn't get that answer. But let's finish up on 7-stars by talking about the stat focus ability. The stat focus ability is probably the main thing. So let's get that up on screen. And here it is. Stat focus. So you're able to change the attributes of your champions, which is fantastic. By the way, you get a little kind of like glimpse into the future with even the rank 4 7-star has got 45,000 health and has got a damage potential of 3,140. I've actually just got to just quickly check that when it comes to like a Joe Fix-It standoff. Oh, we won our war. Fantastic. Do I have Joe Fix as a 6-star just as like a comparison? There we go. So I can just do a quick comparison right here on screen of it. So look, there's like 2k for rank 1 and 25,000 health compared with 45,000. That's 20,000 extra HP and an extra 1k of attack damage. Damn. Look, this could be mega. Especially from what you can see from the future. I mean, what would, like, you know, have a quick look in game with attributes, like as a comparative sense as well. Critical damage rating in game is 513 versus what it's going to be 625, 407 coming in soon versus the 334 that's in game. So there's a lot of stuff that you can change the stats of with this. So you can just go like, hopefully this kind of like showcases an action where you can click and I don't know if it's redistribute your stats, because that's something that's going to be quite important and quite potent for anybody, is redistributing your stats into different locations. There'll be a bit of strategy to this. There is an extra kind of bit of kind of like, well, you know, not frustration, but you know, there's a lot of complexity to this that you've got to go like, okay, well, I've got to think about relics, I've got to think about nodes, I've got to think about maybe making a champion more potent, whether or not it's on defense or on attack. And as I said, this is what I would have liked relics to be about, like just that customizationable element. Relics at the moment, just it's weird in you know, comparison, but you can do some weird and kind of like kooky comparisons and combinations. So I guess there's some fun stuff. man, I want a Guillotine 2099 7-star so bad. Really do. It's going to be a great champion. But look, you can change out your stats. You can set the stats into different areas, whatever you fancy, and choose one particular thing to kind of add more to. I don't think you can do certain things like, your attack stats, but you can do things like critical damage rating improvements, block penetration. Imagine if you get a 7-star Scarlet Witch, right? And up the critical rating. Just think about that for a moment. Like, that would be insane. So if a champion has any kind of like stats that work towards anything that makes them more potent, you can do that. Block penetration, put it on Valkyrie, on Massacre. If it's the case that, there's a need for a champion to have more block proficiency, then slap it on that. And you can see that in the screen there, like it will come up with what has got the ability. The same thing when it comes to Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds, this may be an extra bit of frustration. You can see a deck being created right there for Battlegrounds, and like you're seeing some of the defense stat right there, which is the red, and some of the armor. So you can amplify things in Iron Man Infinity War, make champions more potent and more frustrating, which I think will be a problem. But I think it's going to be a problem for a lot of people who are more higher up than certain others, and there'll be that thing of how much it kind of influences the eco space of fairness, competitive elements of it, and how matchmaking works, because that's going to be another key thing. Don't put a 7-star in your deck unless you want to face off against something that's going to be killer, and you don't want that. But in any case, that I think covers a lot of the 7-star stuff. Titan Crystal is something as well they did mention. The Titan Crystal is going to work side by side. So just to point out, there's the 7-star, and there's going to be the Titan Crystal. The Titan Crystal is where a lot of new champions go into. They go into that before then going into the basic 7-star crystal. And the Titan Crystal shards you'll get from duping your 7-stars. So you get to spend them on that. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird in a way that's kind of like approached, but Kabam, say that it's a thing. And this will be something that will come out later on this year. And it's basically a midway point for the going into the 7-star pool. And that's really that for the time being. There's also one final thing. Kabam are hinting at a launch event. The launch event will be a special type of 7-star orientated quest. So you'll go in, you'll probably use your 7-stars and just test them out and identify the potency or do whatever. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you'll be opening up Paragon Crystals, which will be the new kind of like chase meta of kind of crystals. And those will be part of the event. You open up them and you get something good. People may want to save up units for them. I may do, but at the same time, it does come very close. May, June, July. I suppose it comes 2 months before the launch of the July 4th deal. So maybe I will start saving up units, but time's a factor. And I've got to get the grind on and get stuff done, like get units. I mean, look, those kind of improvements to timers have come in, so grinding up milestones might be better. So yeah, this may be good. It's maybe good, but yeah, that's been the video. As I said, information has all been written out in the description down below. Check out some other content located on screen. I've probably got one more video coming today, and or maybe two to be honest. But yeah, I'll see you in those next videos. Cheers, everybody. Have a great day. Bye bye. What are your thoughts on 7-stars as well? Bye bye.